بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجهه الكريم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. I want to say something about yesterday's Black Imams Roundtable. I've been thinking about it all night. I really enjoyed the open mic structure that we had last night. It really was, I like engaging, so I enjoyed it. How many of you enjoyed, if you watched the Black Imams Roundtable last night, the open mic session? How many of you enjoyed that? Found it beneficial? What's your thoughts? How did you enjoy the open mic session? Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it too. So it gives a chance for us to really dialogue, you know. But one of the things that I thought about and it stayed on my mind was the concept of us building communities and acting as an independent nation. Because really, that's like something I'm really big on. I would love to see that. I actually miss even working for that with real work. And I want to say something about that. And I want you to put this up. Every soldier is not the smartest person. That's one part. Every soldier is not the smartest person. And give me 1 second, I'm sorry. Every every soldier is not the smartest person. That's one, right? The second thing to that, so that's one. Every soldier is not the smartest person. Can y'all put that up? Please copy it. Every soldier is not the smartest person. And I'm going to build off this, right? Every soldier is not the smartest person, right? That's one aspect. The second part, since we got that, everyone got that, every soldier is not the smartest person. It's very important when we talk about building something. Now, the second aspect is the reverse. The smartest person is not always the best soldier. The smartest person is not always the best soldier. And I want to build off those 2 points. So we got every soldier is not the smartest person, and the smartest person is not always the best soldier. Right? With those 2 points, we need to think about something. Sometimes the soldier who's not the smartest person will underestimate their value to accomplishing objectives because of that. And that is a mistake. Sometimes the soldier, because they're not the smartest person, will devalue their importance in achieving the objective. That's a mistake. Because every soldier is not the smartest person, but they are soldiers. And as a soldier, they're needed to accomplish one's objective. And sometimes that soldier, in the overall attainment of the objective, is more important than that smart person. Because the soldier is going to actually put in the work. The soldier is going to actually put in the work. The smart person may come up with the plan, may lay it out, but it's not going to do it. It's that soldier that's going to take that plan and carry it out. So the soldier is extremely important. If it were left to the smartest person, it would never happen. So the soldier is important. On the other side, the smart person, the intelligent person, right? If they try to do the soldier's work, may mess it up, may mess up the mission. So they need to know that your function is this, not that. Your function is not necessarily to do the work. It's to lay out the map, the roadmap, the plan, and put that plan in the hands of real soldiers. And that smart person, or quote unquote, that leader, needs to know the difference between the two. I think when we're talking about building, we have a lot of smart people who are not soldiers. And they think because they're smart, that qualifies them to do the job of a soldier. And it doesn't. In fact, it's the complete opposite. Because you're so smart, sometimes you shouldn't be the soldier. Because you're so smart, sometimes you shouldn't be the soldier. Because the soldier don't need to overthink stuff. Sometimes the soldier just carries out the mission. And my job ain't to overthink this. My job is to make it happen, right? Right? But the smart person oftentimes overthinks it and thinks about it so much that it never occurs, right? And I think that's what we have a lot. When I listen to the roundtable sometimes, when I reflect and I hear the ideas, I see a lot of smart people who are not willing to put in the work. They have great ideas, but they're not going to do it, right? So what my suggestion is to those great ideas is share those great ideas with real soldiers and allow those soldiers to carry out those ideas and get out the way with all your intelligence. I know you're smart, but you ain't gonna carry that out. So put it in the hand of soldiers and get out the way, right? If y'all got my point. I say this a lot because we be having conversations, and we got a lot of people got great ideas, but they ain't gonna do none of it because the soldier is willing to sacrifice everything. The soldier goes at the mission knowing that I might die during this mission. They go with it with that attitude. I might die doing this. Oftentimes, the intelligent person, the smart person, is too busy thinking how they don't die in the mission that the mission doesn't even happen. How can I do this with the least amount of pain, right? And practically no pain. How can I do this job and never get dirty? When the job in and of itself necessitates that you get dirty. Right? So if we're going to build, and these are all analogies to what I'm talking about. If we're going to build something, we need some soldiers and we need some smart people. And each group need to know who they are. Now, someone may raise, as some have, what about the smart soldier? They exist, but they're not plentiful. Usually, the way things is you have classes, and they may sometimes overlap, but you still have those classes for the majority of people. And when I say smart, I don't mean that the other person is stupid. I just mean they're not able to think of all of the details to put that plan together. Sometimes they're just better at executing it, right? There are some people who can do both. But One of the most troubling thing as a black imam, let me tell you something as a black imam. I'm a black imam. I'm a real black imam with a living, breathing community. I deal with people every single day, all times of the day, all times of the night. I got dealing with people. I'm a real living, breathing black imam. I'm not talking, it's not Fantasy Island for me. It's real, on the ground, 24/7, 365 days a week, no break. Do y'all follow me that? It's not fake. This is real, right? Everything we talking about, I live it, right? I know what it's like. I'm not making it up. It's real. And I talk to other living and breathing black imams. We live it, right? Not Fantasy Island. All right. With that being said, and I remember another living black imam. His name is Imam Talib Abdul Rashid. He's the imam of MIB in Harlem, right? He said at one of our gatherings something that, and he's an elder. I respect him. I love him a lot, right? He said, don't come to me or to the imam. He was speaking himself, but in general, with the bright idea you came up that I can do. Don't come to me with the bright idea that you came up with that I can do. Why don't you come up with a bright idea that you can do? To me, that was like, that's every imam's cry. You have all these bright ideas that you don't do. I would like to see some bright ideas that you actually can do. And my first thing is, when you're on the ground, you can distinguish between talk and work. A lot of talk, a lot of kalam, as we say, a lot of kalam. As for al-amal, don't match. Talk, not much work. And maybe you're just smart and you're not a soldier. So you need to just give the idea and then go to the sidelines. Let the soldiers carry it out. You don't need to micromanage that idea. You gave them the idea, let them do the work. Because you're not going to do the work. In fact, after giving the idea, if you get involved, you might ruin the whole idea. I think we need to distinguish between the two. And if we have that rare third person, that third person can manage their self, because they're going to outwork the soldier and outthink the smart person. That one who got the both, that's a special breed. And let me tell you, as an imam, as a leader, never ask nobody for something you're not willing to do yourself. Right? Never ask somebody for something or to do something you're not willing to do yourself. And I would like all of us to follow that example. Never ask somebody to do that what you're not willing to do yourself. Right? In fact, if you really want to be honest, don't ask nobody to do nothing you're not willing to do double. Right? You follow what I mean? If we can start that in our communities, I think we'll start to see a lot of movement, right? Stop figuring out why we can't do something and start actually doing it. So, for instance, we as a collective, we share a mission. What's that mission we share here on this platform? All of us who come to this platform regularly for years now, what's our mission? That's a question. Don't break my heart. Don't break my heart. We've been here for years. What's our mission? That's a question. It requires an answer. For years, what's our mission? Great job. So, Sister Malika and Sister Miriam, correct. 3453 is our mission. That's our mission. That's what we're doing. To implement 3453. That's our mission. And that's a vast mission. And if you understand that mission, you're going to understand what we need to do, because everybody don't have that mission, right? Everybody don't have that mission. So therefore, if that's your mission, it requires something of you from the side of implementing that mission, carrying out that mission, right? And I think sometimes when we be talking, we don't have a mission. We don't really know what we are doing. A lot of times we're just having ideas, but not really what we're going to do. But to fulfill the mission, you need leaders, you need soldiers. And you need more soldiers than you need leaders. I want to say that. You need more soldiers than you need leaders. Because the soldiers are the ones who are actually going to carry out the mission. Y'all follow my point? It's really important to understand that. Some of us forget the mission and add to the mission because we think we smart, stuff that had nothing to do with the mission. Actually, we add to the mission elements that will destroy the mission because we don't understand the mission. Elements to the mission that will destroy the mission, dismantle it totally because we think we're smart, right? And we're not carrying out the mission. Someone asked me the other day, I was in Philadelphia, and somebody asked me, they were talking about Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Right? And they were talking about Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah in Philly. Now let's pause here. When we say Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, what are we talking about? Everybody jump in. Because we said we understand 3453, that's our mission. So Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah is a part of the mission of 3453. Who are Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah? According to that 3453 mission. Let's put that. I ain't asking what someone else think. I'm asking about the 3453 mission. Who are Ahl Sunnah? Somebody missed the mission already. You missed the mission. Already then drove the car off the road. Y'all know me by now. I'm straightforward. I try not to be rude, but I am straightforward. When you understand the mission, stop adding to the mission. Because the mission is important. When you say Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, and I'm going to say it again, it's going to hurt some feelings, but I'm going to say it. Stop saying Ash'ari, Maturidi, and the Hanbalis, or true Hanbalis. You don't have to say that. Why do I say you don't have to say that? Because if people don't fully understand the mission, you're going to undermine the mission with your addition. Do y'all understand what I said? You don't need to say it. It's no need. When you say the Ash'ari and the Maturidiyya, whoever has that same foundational creed is included. You don't need to add a bunch of other stuff. You don't need to do that. It's well known what is understood if you understand the mission. You don't need to say Hanbalis, true Hanbalis. You don't need to say that. You don't need to say it. It's well known. What happens when you do that, and that was the discussion, you open the door for false Hanbalis to come in. And then you have to do extra clarifying for something you shouldn't have to do if you just stuck with the mission. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Did y'all understand what I just said? Like, seriously, I want you to understand. I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to change that. So whenever I hear somebody adding that, they already know they don't understand the 3453 mission at all. They don't understand. You don't have to say it. You don't need to add that addition if you understand. If you don't understand, then you need to be explained. Because when you say true Hanbali, that lets you know there's false Hanbalis, right? And since you had to add that, you have to now identify the difference. And you ain't going through all that. And if you're not going to go through all of it, you're actually making a problem. You're messing up the mission. It's not personal, time, flow. It's just we're talking about a whole point. So sometimes that, and that's what I mean. Sometimes people may not fully understand the mission and then add things from their side that has nothing to do with the mission. In fact, it can undermine the mission. Now you got to open up a whole nother discussion that's outside of the mission to clarify the mission over again when the mission was clear in the beginning. Y'all follow me? Right? So they was asking me about that. And they said to me, well, you have people who are Ash'ari telling us don't teach creed in a place where creed is desperately needed. I said, because they have another mission and you keep forgetting that. Their mission is not your mission, even though they claim to be Ash'ari. And I'm not saying they're not, but their Ash'ari understanding is not what you're talking about. They have another mission. And if you don't understand that, you're going to include them and they're going to ruin everything you're talking about. Right? They're going to ruin everything you're talking about. So it's important to understand and then carry out. Right? Not everybody who wear your clothes is you. They may put on your clothes, they're still not you. And if you don't identify that, then someone's going to falsely represent you. Right? So when you look that we have many of us who have similar ideas, but not the same mission. And that's why we don't work together. We're on different missions. And sometimes you have to accept that and know your role in that. If I'm a soldier, it's not for me to figure that out. I'll let the leaders handle that. Just give me the mission. I'm going to carry out the mission. And I'm going to stick to that, right? That's important to understand, right? I'm telling you, people don't like it. There's a lot of guys, especially men, that come on this platform just to collect followers. They act like they with us. Then when they get you on the side, they doing their own stuff that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I'm telling you, I know it like I know my name. And I got plenty of receipts. There are many, especially men. They come on the platform. They act like they're 3453. They act like they got the mission. And some, we Black, we can be honest, some thirsty women especially fall into their trap. I've seen it over and over again. And I tell them over and over again, stop, watch yourself, don't listen. And then they eventually come back and say, you know what, you was right. I told you. I told you. And then I've seen men who are looking, they thirsty too, for women, and they'll join those type of people just so they can get the thirsty women. And it's all a disaster. But all of it is in the name of 3453, or we Ahl Sunnah, or we, and really it's some other stuff. I've seen it all the time. I'm not new. I've been around. I watch. I have comrades. We see it all the time. Other imams, we talk, we share notes. We know what's going on. We're not in the sky somewhere. We're firmly rooted in the ground. We see it. And trust me, right? Hey, I'm sorry. I'm not one of those guys who word it. Sometimes I know, like I told somebody yesterday, I told them, they said, Imam, I said, I'm Black. I know my people. I'm Black. I know my people. I live with them. I deal with them all the time. I know my people. It's my life job. I live with my people. I know my people. So when I say thirsty woman, you might not like the term, but you definitely know what I'm talking about. Is any of y'all don't know what a thirsty woman is? Y'all don't know what that is? Forget the term. You might not like it, but that's the terms we use for that. Even the women use it. What is meant by that? Come on, the women use it, not men. The women use that. Men too, but women use it. What does that mean? They need water? That's not what it means. It's a tap wheel for that. It's not literal. What is meant by a thirsty woman? A pick me woman, right? A pick me woman. That's funny. No, it's real. I don't agree. I don't. I like to talk to my people in a language they understand. I want to talk to you. Someone else is good at coaching emotions. I ain't. That ain't me. We're in desperate need of reality check, and playing with emotions ain't gonna get it done. We live in a brutal environment, and if you ain't ready to deal with real stuff, you in trouble. I'm telling you, it's just so maybe I'm not the one. Maybe someone else is good for, massaging emotions. Man, we on the ground in the thick of it. I don't have time to manage someone's emotions. I don't. Right? That's just me. But maybe I'm not the person for that. And I would agree, I'm not. I'm going to call a spade a spade. And I'll try to use the most delicate terms. But if the delicate terms ain't identifying it, I'm going to use the terms that identify it. That's just me. Right? So, continuing, let me tell you about vicious brothers. They recognize that. They do. Brothers who's on the prowl, and there's a lot of them, thirsty brothers. They will use Islam to capture and subdue and ruin that thirsty woman. Do you hear what I said? Those thirsty men who are on the prowl will use the deen to capture, subdue, and ruin those thirsty women. Seriously. They will. They've done it. Serious stuff. I'm talking to you real. I know you might not like the harshness, but I'd rather be harsh to you and save you than play games with you and somebody ruin your life and mess your whole stuff up because no one was real with you. And you going through the world with rose-colored glasses. It's not real. And we're dealing with real stuff, and it has devastating effects in our communities and in the future. For our future, it's devastating. But the thirsty brother don't care. He's just trying to get what he got to get. He don't care about all that. He don't care. And you need to identify that he don't care. They usually are not responsible for anything. It's easy to get online and give a lecture. You ain't responsible for nothing. Go run a community and let me see what you got to work with. Build some stuff with real responsibility with women and children and families and economic downcline and all the stuff that go with it. Now let me see what you cut like. I hear that. I hear the shake on the internet. I hear that. Get on the ground. Let me see what you really built with. Right? And I can count And I don't need to be specific. I can count many sisters who've been hoodwinked by that crap. And guess what? There are not enough brothers that say, yo, man, that's crap. That's cap. Sometimes even the leaders are guilty. They see it and they let it happen. They see that stuff. They ain't blind. You know this dude's capping. Why you ain't say nothing? To him, forget to the people, to that person, yo, man, that's cap. Stop. We got to have real talks because we in real situations. We in real situations. I got your internet, antics and, all that stuff. But where you at on the ground, bro? Where you at? What you doing? Really working on the ground. Where you work? Where's your real effort? Where's your real sacrifice? Show me. Where is that? See, some real stuff. And guess what? People are being affected by that. I need to see on the ground what you doing. I know it's a struggle for everybody, but everybody who's in the struggle know who's pulling their weight and who's bull crapping. We do know that, right? We do know the difference when you really in it. And for us, especially as communities, we got to have some accountability. We got to have some accountability. And we got to talk about all that, right? We got to have that talk. And when we live like we talk, we're not afraid to talk. When you live like you talk, you're not afraid to talk, right? You live like you talk. But when you don't live it and you just rapping, then you better be quiet because you don't live like that. No one's perfect. No one's saying you got to be perfect, but you got to be for real. You don't got to be perfect. No one is free from sins. No one is free from mistakes except the prophets, alayhimus salatu wassalam. But we all know when you faking jacks. And for us as a people, we can't afford to be faking jacks. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? This is real stuff. These are my Black Imams Roundtable Reflections. Did you hear that young brother yesterday? The brother Najib? Did you hear that description he gave? I thought about that. That stuff was strong. That young brother, 31 years old, he described what he was looking at and what they saw. And I heard Muawiyah earlier saying the same thing. Nifaq, that's how he described it. Hypocrisy. That's a real issue. That's a real issue. And the youth see that. The youth see that, and they don't want no parts of that. Dudes, fake as a $3 bill. They don't want no parts. Want no parts of that. Right? They don't want no parts of that stuff. So for us, let's start identifying, not to criticize, but to not fall victim, right? Right. So we don't fall victim. Sayyiduna Hudhayfa ibn Yaman, he said something so beautiful. He said, whoever does not know evil is likely to fall into it. Whoever does not know evil is likely to fall into it. Right? We have to be real with ourselves. Because what we're up against necessitates that we real people. The challenges we up against as a collective community necessitates that we be real people. We have to, right? We have to be real people. We can't let nobody fake it. It don't work. We can't fake it. We got to call a spade a spade. It is what it is. And then improve. No, I agree. I don't think we're victims. I think we need to be responsible because we have all the tools. We have to be responsible, right? We have to take responsibility and accountability and improve, but we have to have mission, right? Whatever it may be, it don't have to be the mission we upon. You may not agree with our mission, but find a mission and be sincere to it, whatever it is. At least that's a starting point. Be committed to something. Be willing to sacrifice for something. Heck, be willing to give your life for something. Something. And that's a starting point. Now, we hope that something is the right thing, but be willing to be committed. You follow my point? Do y'all got me? This is just my thoughts. I think about it all the time. It's my life. I think about it all the time. I'm thinking about my children. I'm thinking about my grandchildren. This stuff just stick in my mind all the time. And I lived long enough to see what it'll look like if we don't do anything. If we keep doing the same thing, I've lived long enough in Islam as a black man among black people to realize what it will look like if we don't do something different. I've lived it, so I'm not talking, I lived it. And most of you have too. You know, that's why they say to continue to do the same thing and hope to get different result is a part of insanity, right? Just keep listening. We always talking about the mission. Our mission 3453, we always talking about. And it's a process. It's not easy. And to summarize quickly, the 3 stands for or indicates the hadith of Jibril, the main points. Al-Islam, Al-Iman, and Al-Ihsan, which is really Al-Fiqh, Al-Aqidah, and Al-Tasawwuf, according to Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Number 4 is the summary of the Ihya Ulumuddin of Imam al-Ghazali, which deals with our worship, our customary practices, our removing blameworthy characteristics, our adorning ourselves with praiseworthy characteristics. Number 5 was the way that Imam al-Haddad summarized the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Knowledge, practice, sincerity, scrupulousness, and fear of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. And number 3 is our mission that summarize all those things: knowledge, practice, and calling to Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. That's our life. That's our mission. And that mission encompasses everything we have to do. Everything we have to do is summarized right there. We don't need to do nothing else. All we need to do is learn the details of that summary. And it's our whole deen and everything we need to do. And we won't miss a beat if we could do all that. We'd be straight. We would be right in line if we got that. So that's the mission. But we need to know that well. We need to know that well. Some of us still think we're going to negotiate with Wahhabis. It's not going to happen. But some of us believe that's possible. It's not. It goes totally against the mission. There has to be a change. It's never going to be, okay, we stay the way we are and we're going to work cohesively together. That's never going to happen. The nature of the different missions will not allow that to happen. Do y'all understand that? This hopeful thinking, wishful thinking you got, oh, well, one day the Ash'ariyah and the Wahhabiyah are going to be one. In your dreams, you don't understand. Either the Ash'ariyah are going to become Wahhabi, or the Wahhabis are going to become Ash'aris and Maturidis. It ain't going no other way. They're extreme opposites. They don't come together. Period. Now, how to get to that point is going to be a lot of work. But it is never going to be what you think. So stop grieving about that. And maybe get to the last part of the 3, which is a da'wah, and calling them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's the work. And using proofs and evidences to convince them of the truthfulness of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. That's your job. And maybe that's where you're going to spend most of your time. But this idea that, we just all get along and let's forget about Aqidah and that's a madhab in itself. Don't talk about Aqidah. Don't talk about madhabs. You deluded. That's a madhab, what you're talking about, which contradicts Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah altogether. So we're going to leave the whole mission for that. It doesn't work. That doesn't mean we can't find other areas or areas that we can be productive and cooperative. That exists, but we still have to deal with core issues. We can't run from them. Do y'all understand that? No, seriously. Some of us don't understand. It's real. Some Sunnis don't understand that. I don't know if they study history or not. I don't know what books you reading. I don't know what you understanding. That has never worked. I don't know what you're talking about. It's never worked, ever. And where it looked like it worked, it was a bunch of compromising to the foundations of the deen. And I don't know, that's definitely not going to work. But that doesn't mean you have to be mean to each other. That doesn't mean, because it's a process. And ultimately, Allah is the one who guides. But you have a job to do in that. And among it is to tell the truth. That's among that job. You have to tell the truth. Now, the way you do it, the mode, all that's up for discussion. But it must be done. Do y'all follow my point? Y'all follow me? And it is what it is. So that's my thoughts. I hope you found some benefit in it. Uh, and it's an ongoing process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's an ongoing process. And someone said to me, I'm afraid we're not going to live to see it. And I believe that we're not going to live to see it. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't keep planning. What the work that needs to be done, our lifespan expectancy is not that. The work that needs to be done. This is centuries worth of work. Do you know how long it took to uh, get the Mu'tazila school of thought under control? Centuries, not overnight. Centuries. Right? Centuries. But the seeds were planted and the soil was uh, fertilized and maintained to eventually stuff grew. Right? Okay, let me take your questions real quick so I don't leave you. Um, um, all right, let me take these quick questions. What about worker bees? Those of us who are neither smart and soldier. You both. You are smart and you're a soldier. And you're a worker bee. Keep up the good work. Right? You got all of them combined. You that special individual. You could do it. Believe in yourself. I believe in you. And so do we. The whole 345 family, 3453 family believe in you. You could do it. We got you. Identify the Humbalis are and keep your foot on the neck of the false Humbalis. Yeah, do it. Don't just talk about it. We have to do it. I agree 100%. Stop the cap. Maybe we can get it done for all of us, right? Because if that's true, then we all should do our part. Even if we don't do it together. If we're clear, the mission will go out. All that Rodney King stuff in its wrong place, that don't work, right? Just do it. Do it on your own platforms. Do it in your own groups. Do it in your own centers. Do it with your own jama'ah. Just do it. And if you do it, and we do it, and they do it, and they do it, it will go across. But if we're doing it, or you're doing it, and we're undermining what you're doing, or you're undermining what I'm doing, it don't work. It makes it more difficult. If we're truly Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, be Ahl Sunnah. Don't be all over the place. Ahl Sunnah is clear. It don't need none of us to be clear as it is. Just follow it. That's our mission. And we don't have to be together at all. Just do your job, and I do my job. And if you're doing the job of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, you are clarifying the creed of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, do your thing. We don't have to be together. Do your thing. But do it. Right? Do it. All over the world, Muslims, Ahl Sunnah, may not necessarily be together, but they're all doing their job. And collectively, the message of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah is getting out. They got different styles. I honestly believe we're going to need different approaches to do the same thing, so long as we're doing the same thing, right? Some people need the Sufi touch, gentle, soft, you know, right? They need that approach. There are people for that. As long as they're Sunni doing their stuff, that's their approach. Some people need the intellectual approach. There need to be people engaged in that. Some people need the refutation, showing the opposites, really straightforward, clarifying the knowledge. Some people need that. And we need Sunnis in all those areas. And one is not more important than the other, but they all need to be doing Sunni stuff. That's the key. Everybody got to be doing different stuff. Our approach doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't. But our approach is necessary for some. Then others, they need other stuff. That's it. But, you know, one of my teachers said something that was so beautiful. He said, everybody need to take the people in their orbit. We was having a group meeting with a bunch of imams and sheikhs and, you know, big ones in America, the big people. And we all in a meeting. And one of the sheikhs, he said, everybody do their orbit. It was so beautiful to me because all of us brought different things to the table. He said, everybody work in their orbit. Take care of your people. And I happened to be the only black guy in that meeting. The rest were immigrants or Caucasians, you know, Arabs. I was the only black in that meeting when we were having that discussion. Oh, I forgot. There was one other black. He was black, but he's mixed. He's black and white. He was there too, right? So I take that back, Sayidi. Don't get mad at me. I forgot, right? But he told us that because he was the elder among us. He said, everybody work in their orbit. Get your people. We're talking about Ahl Sunnah. And he said to me, he was in the meeting, he said, Imam Amin, we need you to do your part. Go get your people. Educate your people. Because none of us can do your job. We can help, but we can't do your job. You have to do that. And you can help us, but you can't do our job. And I agree 100%. I give you an example. I asked one of those sheikhs to come do the job with me. You know what he told me? He said, man, I can't come in the hood and roll like that. We took him in the hood. He went in the hood, and as he was going through the hood, somebody got stabbed up. He like to have a heart attack. For us, would you get that together? He's like, how do you work in this environment? This is where I'm from, right? Different. We actually took him in the hood. And when he was going through the hood, as they were walking through, somebody got stabbed up right in front of him. He like had a heart attack. He's like, whoa. Different environments. He's used to the suburbs with neighborhood watch. It's a different environment. You know? It's different worlds, different people, and different people needed for different worlds and different approaches. That's how it works, right? So I agree with that. I didn't mean to take that so long, but I do. I would really like to have some real public hardcore conversations. I don't like back door stuff. You know why I don't like behind the door stuff? I'm gonna tell you why. Because behind the door is always double talking and no accountability. I hate behind the door discussion. You know those private meetings where we ain't gonna say it in public. We're just gonna, we're gonna work it out. It's always cap. We have that meeting, and then when it come out, it's coming out public anyway, and it never come out the way it was going down behind the scenes. I hate that stuff. It's all a bunch of, somebody tell me that, I'm like, oh man, this dude getting ready to pull a fast one. What we got to hide? We ain't really doing no real strategizing anyway. It's all general. Why we can't talk about that in the public? Why we got to go behind the closed door to say something we saying in public anyway? That don't make sense to me. That means you up to something. And I ain't with that behind the door meeting. I ain't with it. We can, whatever we talking about, we can say it in public. It ain't that deep. We ain't strategizing like that. We don't even trust each other like that. So stop. We don't need no private meeting. Whatever we got to talk about, we could talk about in the public forum. Seriously. That's real. It ain't that deep. But the private meetings are used to do other stuff, and I ain't with it. Yeah, we met with them, and I had to straighten them out, and you straightened who out? Stop. That's the storyline you telling. We could do that in public, so then everybody know what really happened, right? It's cap, serious cap. We ain't even talking about nothing that deep to be in private. The stuff we talking about, everybody need to know, and it should be public. We don't want to talk about the Akida issues. Why not? It's public. Everyone needs to know. Why we got to privately talk about Akida. For what? What's private about that? These issues should be kept in private. So you can come out and lie after we finish? No. Say it publicly. When we finish, we ain't agree with nothing. Say it public. So you can do your stuff and nobody know you doing your stuff? No, do it in public. If we disagree on creed, disagree in public. So the people know where we disagree at. If we agree, do it in public. They know where we agree. What's cat? You know they used to have debates publicly? The scholars, they wasn't hiding because they were about clarifying the truth. Do it publicly. That way we settle it. Whatever we different about, unless it's some knife stuff, then you need to put that knife stuff, and I need to put that knife stuff in my pocket. If we're talking about the religion, that can be done publicly. We don't need no backdoor meeting. That could be done publicly because our people need to know, and they need to know where we stand, all of us. And we need to be accountable for where we stand. Not no double talking. We say this behind closed doors, and then we go do something else. No, the people heard what we said. The people see where we at, and the people should hold us accountable for that. And when we flip the script, they should check us. Because a lot of that happens. They should check us. You said you were on this way, and you doing that. Explain it. Be accountable. If we sincere, we're trying to teach. We're trying to convey the knowledge. Why is all this secrecy? For what? What we doing? We ain't building nothing. We at each other's throats and acting like we together privately when we really not. Stop. Cap. All right, that's me. Because the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is of two types, ummatul da'wah or ummatul ijaba. The nation that the Prophet was sent to, which is all the human and the jinn, and those who accepted his call. We need to bring the people from ummatul da'wah to ummatul ijaba. We need them from the people who the Prophet was sent to the people who believe in them. And we need to make them mukallaf, more responsible, so that they embrace Islam. So it's essential that we give da'wah to the people who are not Muslim. And to be honest, that is a bigger platform for us than talking to each other. There are so many non-Muslims that if you get them as non-Muslims, they can learn Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah from the beginning, correct, from day one. They don't got to undo stuff. They don't got to do all that. They just learn it as it is from day one. They're the best potential in that regard. And Allah knows best. I think I got one more last question. I'll tell you what we were told in the dunya, right? Hard work beats out even talent, even finance. If you work hard, you can overcome their money. You got to work hard. You got to work hard. You can't be a slouch. You got to work hard. Every single day, you got to work hard. You got to be about it every day, right? Every single day, you got to be on your job. No days off. Because you're fighting money. You're fighting petrodollars. Every single day, you have to be on your job. No days off. And even when you sleeping, you got to have one eye open. That's the job of a soldier. And by doing that, Allah has given us means to even the playing field. This is a way of even the playing field, right? We teach. People are learning. People are hearing. People are being exposed, right? You got to keep working. You can't stop. But if you slacking, compromising, making excuses why you're not working, then I guess we will never combat it because you ain't doing nothing. I ain't saying you particularly. I'm talking about us, right? We got to keep working. You got to be serious. And you got to really believe it needs to be combated. And you got to know what it is and then learn how to do it. And all of that go a part of it. Can it be done? Yes. Many great nations have failed that were corrupt, right? The Wahhabis didn't have no more money than other previous groups and had control and power that Ahl Sunnah overcame over time. But they were workers, right? The Mu'tazila had more power than the Wahhabis. The Mu'tazila were overcame. They had way more power, way more influence, way more rulership and control over the Muslim populace. They were in charge. The Wahhabis are only in charge in their place. They're not in charge nowhere else, right? So they're easy. That's an easy fight. If you work, it's not hard. It's not hard at all. You have to work. They don't really have nothing to build on anyway. All you got to do is learn your deen and teach and convey and be diligent. They're built on nothing. They stole all of the Sunni stuff and reinterpreted. That's all they did. But the Sunnis not holding their tradition right. Hold your tradition, right? And then you wipe it out. Truth is clear from falsehood when it's manifest. And that's why Imam Ahmed radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, if the scholar remains silent in the face of falsehood, when is the truth ever going to be manifest? If the scholar remains silent in the face of falsehood, when the truth ever going to be manifest? I take Philadelphia, for example. You know how easy it is to change Philadelphia to predominantly Ahl Sunnah if the Sunnis work and stop their shenanigans and work in a united voice? If Ahl Sunnah people in Philly, blacks, stop their shenanigans, stop being slaves to foreigners, stop being lazy bums, they can fix it. I'm being honest. The black Sunnis in Philadelphia alone, Ash'ari, Maturidi, Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Sufis, if they, the blacks in Philly, Sunnis, if they stop being slaves to foreigners, be men, stop being slaves to foreigners, stop running someone else's program in your neighborhood, and you be a man and you carry it. That's one aspect. Stop being lazy, pathetic bums. I know it's hard. I'm saying it the way it is. Man up. Start taking care of your stuff. Start building. Start working hard for building and establishing centers that are respectable. Right? You can do it. Start learning. Start sharing what you got between you. There are some people in there, like I was talking to somebody yesterday. They were talking about praising the Wahhabis. I say, you got Sunnis right in Philly that know Arabic, that read books, that memorize books. They don't work together. They busy serving somebody else and being bums. Too many of them. I'm not saying every single individual. I'm saying too many of them. And we just don't want to say it. It hurt, but it's true. And we know it. We say it. We say it. We say it. In our private closed door meetings, we say it. We say it. It's not like I'm saying something we don't say. We say it. We cry about it, but we don't do anything about it. And guess what happens? It keeps, so Wahhabism grows. When you have all the talent, you got people who studied, who got degrees, Sunnis, black, more than one, who know Arabic, who memorize books, who sit with sheikhs, right there. What you talking about? Get busy. Stop the crap. Help each other. Work together. You'll get the job done. It's easy. It's easy. It's not hard. But when you got other stuff you doing, it's very difficult. When something else is more important than the truth, yeah, it's hard. I want to be the leader. I want to be the man. I want somebody to follow me. When all that's involved, my sheikh, my group, when all that's involved, yeah, it's difficult. Right? Yeah, it's hard when all that's involved. But if it's just about speaking and teaching the truth of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, it's not that difficult. It's easy. And you have way more than you need. You don't even need nobody else. You could do it. I'm just being honest. It's easy. And if you doubt me, I'm willing, and I'm talking to the Sunnis, any day, anytime, a public platform on it. Any day, anytime, a public platform on it. I'm down whenever you're ready. If we're talking seriously, that's how easy it is. I'm talking to the Sunnis. I'm talking about the Ash'ari, the Maturidiyya, the true Hanbalis, the Malikis, the Shafis, the Hanbalis, the Hanafis, the Sufis. Anytime we can have a public discourse on it, and let's see what we come up with. Anytime, any day. No excuse. Y'all listen, did everybody hear what I said? Because some people say, oh, he don't want to have the conversation. Man, stop telling them lies. I'm for it. We could do it publicly, any day, anytime. Pick it. I'll make myself available. No excuse. Any day, anytime, anywhere. I'll make myself available for that. Did y'all hear me? I ain't stutter. Anytime, anywhere, online, offline, public gathering, that's what it needs to be. No private stuff. Anytime. Let's do it. I'm with it. If we sincere, what's the holdup? I ain't stutter. Anytime, any place, anywhere, but it must be public. Online, offline, whenever you ready. That's how serious I am about it. Now, stop the cat. Stop talking about what I won't do, what he won't do. You know me. I ain't that kind of person. Let's do it. If we're sincere. But if you capping, you got something else, you don't have that conversation with me. If you're doing something else and it ain't really about that, you know I'm going to call your bluff. You know that about me already. So just know where we at and sit down and say I ain't cut for it. And that's cool. Sometimes that's what you need to do. I ain't cut for it. Sit down. Stop fronting. I ain't cut for it. I ain't cut like that. Sometimes that's what it is. There's a point where I'll stop. And I'll just call my sheikhs. Look, this is way above my pay grade. Sheikh, I need you. And you know I'll do that too. This is way above my pay grade. I can't go no further. This is my limit. Sheikh, come help. That's how it go. But you got to know your limits. You got to know where you got to stop. And don't worry, there's someone we are Army. There's some people that's special forces. It's too weak right here. They're going to take it to the next level. We're going to go sit down and we're going to give that to them. They're going to take care of that. There's nothing to be afraid of if we're sincere. Okay, that was it. I think I answered all your questions. Do I have any more? No? And some of you can't handle my way of doing it. Just find someone who's more of your liking, but make sure they're doing the work. That's a good question, Salim. The same way I just did. How do you address the ones that want to be leaders, yet aren't thinkers and always want to attack those appointed? Call them to the carpet. Okay, Sheikh, you do it. Let's go. Where we at, Sheikh? Rais, where we at? Let's roll. And when they put in that position, they're going to fold like laundry. They just talking. When they're put in that position, they're going to fold like laundry. That's how you handle it. Right? You want to be the leader? Okay. Here you go. Here's the leader's job. Let's see what you got. And we're going to be right here watching you. You want to be in charge? You want to be the sheikh? Here's the mission. Let's go. But we're going to watch you. And they're going to tap out. They're going to tap out. Trust me. They're going to tap out. If they ain't real, they're going to tap out. Count on it. But if you let them play games, they're going to act like they're real. They're going to tap right on out. May Allah make it easy. So that's the mission. Let's get to work. Barakallahu bikum. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.